Hi, and welcome back to Living Inspired with Autism. I'm Antoinette, and I am a parent-focused life coach for those of you who have autistic children. This is a space for parents raising extraordinary children while also learning how to regulate themselves, strengthen their emotional well-being, and create lives that feel deeply meaningful and aligned. And I am so grateful that you are here today. So today we are wrapping up the emotional skills series. And honestly, I think this final skill is incredibly empowering because up until now, we've spoken about identifying your emotions. So basically naming them. Then we spoke about allowing those emotions. So actually feeling them in your body. And in the third episode, we spoke about not indulging in emotions. So not using those emotions to hold you back. And then in the fourth episode, we spoke about being willing to feel the uncomfortable emotions, being willing to feel the discomfort. And today, we're going to be talking about creating emotions on purpose. Most people believe emotions just happen to them, that emotions are caused by circumstances or facts around them, that they are caused by other people, that they are caused by the kiddo's behavior, that they are caused by the world around them. So it sounds something like, my kiddo's behavior made me frustrated. That comment that my mother made upset me. This situation that I'm dealing with from the school is stressing me out. Now notice those are outside influences that you are attributing your emotions to. But here's what changed everything for me when I first learned it. Your emotions are created by your thoughts about the circumstances, not by the circumstances itself. Now, before you panic, this does not mean that your emotions aren't valid. It also doesn't mean that you should be thinking positively all the time, or that you should never have negative emotions. Absolutely not at all. Remember, half of life, 50-50, is meant to feel uncomfortable. You're supposed to have uncomfortable emotions. So we're not robots, we're human. We're not robots floating around on this permanent happiness cloud. We are learning how to become emotionally intelligent. Now, a lot of people, most people, live emotionally reactive lives. And what I mean by that is when something happens and then the emotions take over. So imagine, for example, you're in traffic and somebody slams on brakes in front of you and you feel this adrenaline rush in your body and you just want to swear at them. Or you cry during a sad part of a movie. Like I have been watching the series The Medicine and I have been crying every single episode because it's really sad. Or your kiddo gives you a big old hug and a kiss. Now, for parents who do this is not a normal occurrence, you can just feel the love in your chest. Or your mother says to you that you should be disciplining your child more. Also, it brings up a lot of emotion in you. But emotional maturity looks different. It looks like noticing the emotion. Usually the negative one. Of course, you can use the positive ones as well, but let's talk about the negative ones. So you notice the negative emotion and then you start investigating what you're thinking. What did I think that caused this emotion? Now, in the beginning, of course, you're going to go straight back to the circumstance. My kid, the teacher, the school, the person in front of me, and that's okay. You can do that. And then once you've learned to figure out what you are thinking, then what was your thought about the circumstance? And once you do that, you can actually start creating new thoughts. It sounds like, what emotion do I want to create here? And that is a completely different way of looking at things. So let me give you an example. Let's say your kiddo is dysregulated. Maybe they're screaming, maybe your plans have changed unexpectedly, maybe you're really exhausted and overstimulated yourself. Now, you could automatically create emotions about these circumstances: frustration, anger, panic, resentment, helplessness. And honestly, that is exactly what most brains do automatically. But what if you just took a breath and you noticed what was happening? And then intentionally deciding what emotion you want to create. Maybe it's calm. Maybe it's compassion. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's steadiness. So sometimes when I feel a little bit shouty, I take a deep breath and I decide intentionally that I want to be more patient, that I want to feel patience. So how do I create patience? I start thinking thoughts that create patience. For example, Max is just having fun. I don't really have to rush. It's okay if he wants to splash around in the bath for another 10 minutes. I wonder if he wants my attention, or maybe he wants to play with me. Now, these kind of thoughts get me back to patience. So what thoughts would you think to get you to that place of calm, compassion, and steadiness? Because the real power is not about controlling your child. It's learning how to lead yourself emotionally. So notice that my thoughts had nothing to do with getting Max to do anything, and everything to do with leading myself emotionally. So why does this matter so much? Because your emotional state becomes the emotional atmosphere of your home. Because kiddos, we know, especially our autistic children, are so incredibly sensitive to emotional energy. They feel tension, they feel urgency, they feel panic, they feel resentment. Often when Max is acting a little bit out of character, I always go back to me. Am I feeling stressed? Is there maybe some tension at home? And almost always I can find something. Right now, we're actually in the process of selling our home. And of course, there's a lot of dysregulation that is still about to happen, and boxes all over the place and doing all the things of moving a house. And I am very tuned in to Max at the moment. When I see he's struggling a little bit, I deliberately just take things down a notch. I just try and calm down myself down, or I just take a step back. And of course, they also feel, once you've done that, they feel calm, they feel the calm, they feel the groundedness, they feel the safety, they feel the presence. An important point to remember is that your brain believes that it's helping you when it thinks. If you stay worried or on guard or alert, that you'll stay prepared. But chronic worry doesn't create preparedness. It creates tiredness. So chronic worry, chronic being on guard, chronic being alert doesn't make you more prepared. It just makes you tired. So when I started creating emotions, I started asking myself, what do I want to feel today? Not what I hope happens, but what emotional energy do I want to bring in my life? And not things like happiness or having a perfect day, but things like grounded, capable, connected, calm, trusting, courageous, because these emotions created different actions. So this is how it works. Your emotions drives all of your behavior. And I want you to think about this. Your emotions drives your behaviors. So if you feel helpless, you are maybe going to withdraw. If you feel panicked, you are going to react or freeze. If you feel resentful, you are going to disconnect. But if you feel empowered, you're going to problem solve. If you feel calm, you're going to regulate yourself. You are going to radiate calm energy. If you feel compassionate, you are going to connect differently. And you are already creating emotions all day long. The question is, are you creating them intentionally or automatically? And this is one of the most transformational parts of the work that I do in my one-on-one coaching, because many parents have spent years on emotional autopilot, reacting and managing and holding everything together. But in coaching, you learn how to create emotional leadership. You learn how your thoughts are shaping your emotions, how to interrupt those emotional patterns, and how to intentionally create emotions that support the life that you actually want. It's not about pretending that things are easy. It's about becoming the person who can create the calm in chaos, or courage in the uncertainty, or steadiness in the hard moments. And if you're thinking that this is you, a once-off coaching session can be a beautiful next step. Sometimes one powerful conversation changes the way you experience your entire life. All right, so how do we create emotions on purpose? Step 1, decide how you want to feel. Before the day begins, ask yourself, how do I want to show up today? Not what you need to get done, but what emotional energy do I want to embody today? Examples of those could be, I want to feel calm, I want to feel patient, I want to be a bit more playful, I want to be really loving, I want to be resilient because I know there are going to be things that are going to be hard today. I want to feel confident. Just pick one. Step 2, ask yourself, what would I need to think to create that emotion? Because thoughts create your feelings. So if you want to feel calm, you can't keep thinking this day is going to be a disaster, or I can't handle any of this, or everything is falling apart, or my kiddo is ruining everything. You're going to think things like, I can handle this. I can handle hard moments. This is hard and it's only temporary. And my kiddo is just struggling right now. Notice the difference. It's not that the situation has changed, but your emotional experience has. And from there, your actions change as well. Creating emotion on purpose does not mean that you're bypassing reality. You're not trying to force positivity or suppress your grief or deny that you're feeling frustration. You are learning emotional leadership. There is a difference. And the beauty of this work is when you realize you can create emotional intentionality, you stop feeling so powerless. You stop waiting for life to calm down before you feel okay. Because if you're waiting for your life to become perfectly easy, you are going to wait forever. Remember, the goal is not to feel good all the time. The goal is to become emotionally capable. That means becoming aware of your feelings, actually feeling them, and then creating new ones. The strongest people are not the people who never feel fear. They are the people who can feel the fear and still choose courage. They still do the thing anyway. Imagine waking up and intentionally creating calm, steadiness, openness, self-trust. Imagine you are parenting from leadership instead of panic, connection instead of resentment, presence instead of being on autopilot. That changes your entire experience of life. Your emotions aren't random. They are not happening to you. And once you understand that, you stop living emotionally at the mercy of everything around you. So, as we close this emotional skills series, I want to remind you that emotional health is not about being happy all the time. It's about becoming someone who can identify emotions, allow emotions, move through the emotions, tolerate discomfort, and intentionally create emotions that support the life that you want. That is emotional strength. So if you got value out of this series, please share it with another parent who may need these conversations as well. And if you're ready to experience this work personally, I would love to support you through a once-off coaching session. The link will be down below. I'd like to invite you to a free masterclass I'll be hosting. It's called You Are the Asset. And this will be on Tuesday, June the 16th at 12 p.m. EST. And the link for that will be below as well. Please come and join me. We're going to have so much fun. All right, my friends, till next week. Bye now.